I am Colvina Sewell, and I have chronic fatigue syndrome. Chronic fatigue syndrome is a disorder that affects your bones, joints, sleep pattern, and immune system. I honestly didn't think anything was wrong with me in January of my senior year when I got affected by it. One morning I woke up, but I had a hard time getting out of bed. So I thought, okay, I must be really tired today. Then the next day, it happened again. And my mom said, we need to take you to the doctor. Going to the doctor, he gave me tests, and it turned out there was nothing wrong. So my doctor told my mom I had chronic fatigue syndrome. And I thought, okay, I get tired. Little did I know all the challenges that I would face with chronic fatigue. My back, joints, everything hurt so bad. It was a hard time just to even walk down the steps at school. It got so bad that I even had to be homeschooled. Chronic fatigue affects a lot of people. Usually, mostly, elderly. But there's also young people my age and a little bit older that also get affected by it. It is a disease, an illness that can be very debilitating.
So Colvina came to us, I guess sophomore year, I think. Could be freshman year. She seemed like she was with us forever. And she fit into the organization really quickly. She was, I would say by the time the first year of her service was over, she was pretty much beloved by everybody in the organization because of her caringness to the other members in the club. And she was a very good volunteer. I know from the people who over at Spanner told us how important her service was. And so that was a big deal. And then as she stayed in the club, she became a leader in the club, and an important leader in the club. And she was always the person that did the small things that are always, to me, are the big things that make the club more like a family. And she was an important part of that. And she actually received an award for it in her junior year, I believe it was, for her service involved. So she was a strong volunteer, kind of a very big community builder in our organization, which was really important. It's what we're looking for. So senior year, things changed. We realized that that what she actually was doing was cutting back on things that she was involved with. Just didn't seem to be able to have the energy to handle whatever. I think she continued to do Spanner as best she could, but as far as our club was concerned, it was just one too many things for her to do. And so it was a great loss to our club. When you have a person like that who has such a central figure in what you're trying to do, and people look to for inspiration, which she certainly was that kind of person, all of a sudden that she's not able to do the things that she did in the past. So most of us never heard of chronic fatigue syndrome before, and we sort of found out after the fact more about how it takes away not only your energy, but it takes away your ability to just to want to connect and want to do things. It's sort of you almost have to curl up and defend yourself to keep yourself going. And as we really didn't see too much of Colvina after that, but heard that she was now then being homeschooled, which more impressed upon us the seriousness of chronic fatigue syndrome and how it really can change your life. And it's a person who, when you're, for the first couple of years when you know them, they're strong and powerful, and they're driven. I think that's a good word for her. She was nicely driven, and then all of a sudden that whole ability and interest in having that drive is kind of zapped from you. And so we didn't see Colvina too much after that, and I think the last time I saw her before this video was when she came to our finale, which is our end of year celebration, which would have been her senior year finale, which would have been a major thing for her because she was such an important person in the club, where we really honor the people in the club who have been so integral part of it, important leaders. So it was that was almost a sad day.
Hi, my name is Natasha Powell. I am Covina Sewell's best friend for 9 years. When Covina came down with chronic fatigue syndrome, I mean, in the beginning, everyone who found out just thought just because it had the word fatigue in there, that it just meant, you know, she needed to sleep a lot or that she was just lazy as a person. But in reality, it was so much more. I mean, Covina has matured a lot from the chronic fatigue syndrome. There have been times where I would have to carry her on my back just to go to a restaurant. And I mean, it's been hard, especially since when we usually hang out as friends, it was hard for her just to go certain distances, even in school, for us to even go from one class to another in the allotted time that we were given. It was just so difficult because she needed a wheelchair to get from point A to point B. And even in the mall, I mean, there have been times where I haven't even been able to hang out with her as much, only because it was difficult for her to go from like the first floor to the second floor, to climb stairs. I mean, I think overall, she's grown a lot from this. I mean, now it's a lot easier for her to get around, but I mean, I'm still reminded every day of how hard it was for her.
When Covina was born, she was a very beautiful little baby girl. As time moved on, she became a very vibrant young lady, involved in different clubs inside and outside the school. She was involved in student council, class of 2009, acting, volunteering, singing, helping kids with disability. In her senior year, in the beginning of her senior year, near the end of January, Covina was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. That day when we received the news, I was very devastated because what happened was it was like when you seen a very vibrant young lady started going downhill in a matter of weeks, and that was extremely devastating, to say the least. I had to help her in bed, help her to get in bed, help her to get out of bed. I had to help feed her. It took me like 3 or 4 hours to get her up, and it was just unbelievable, just unbelievable. Also, she always experienced a lot of pain in her bones and joints, chronic headaches, chronic backaches, abdominal pains, and then she would also have chest pains and chronic sore throat, and then sometimes it would just be back pains, and then other times it'd be her whole body. I had been working with Covina Marie for like about 6 months, and then later on down the road she started getting better. She also had to be in a wheelchair for a while. She couldn't even walk to school anymore. But as I said before, later on down the road, she was able to get out of the wheelchair and was be able to walk again. Even to this day, there are still bits and pieces of chronic fatigue syndrome. And as of right now that she's in college, she works around that. And I'm very proud of her that she is getting good grades in school, and still, you know, she still have her good days and she still have her bad days.
I cannot focus no matter what. And I have papers, I have homework, I have so many things to do, but I didn't even get that much sleep yesterday because of the chronic fatigue. My mind keeps getting so blank, and it's just really, really frustrating. But I'm making it. I'm totally making it. I think I'm way off better than what I was my high school year, so I'm doing the best I can. It's just, I gotta get done this paper, but I can do it. That's the thing with chronic fatigue though. You're gonna have your good days, bad days. Yesterday my back was hurting. Today it's alright. I don't feel as bad today, but it's just, I gotta hang in there, do what I gotta do to succeed and get through with this illness. So, just gotta make it.